3 True Neighbor Horror Stories. Welcome to Dark Vision, the place where the darkest and most unsettling stories come to life. If you love true horror, haunted encounters, and terrifying tales from real people, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because some stories should never be forgotten. Tonight we're diving into 3 true neighbor horror stories. Stories that prove that sometimes the people living next door might be far more terrifying than anything lurking in the shadows. So sit back, stay quiet, and prepare yourself for a journey into the unknown. Story 1. Window Stare. It all started when Sarah moved into a quiet suburban neighborhood. The houses were neat, the lawns were manicured, and the neighbors always seemed friendly. Or at least, that's what she thought at first. The first few nights were normal. She'd cook dinner, watch TV, and eventually fall asleep. But then, one night, she noticed something strange. A shadow at her bedroom window. At first, she thought it was a trick of the streetlight. But then, the shadow moved. It wasn't just a shadow. It was a person, standing still, staring at her. Sarah froze. The figure didn't wave, didn't knock, just watched. The next day, she tried to laugh it off. Maybe it was a delivery person or someone walking their dog. But night after night, the same thing happened. Always the same spot, always the same silent stare. Sarah tried covering her windows, closing the blinds tight, but it didn't help. Sometimes, she would wake up and see the face pressed against the glass. A man, smiling. She decided to confront him. The next evening, she waited for him outside. She saw a man she hadn't noticed before. His house was directly across from hers. He smiled, waved casually, and said nothing else. Sarah moved out 2 weeks later. She never found out who the man was or why he had been watching her. But she still checks her windows every night just in case. Story 2. The Uninvited Guest. Michael had always considered his neighbor, Mr. Harris, to be a quiet and polite man. They'd exchanged pleasantries, shared small talk about the weather, and that was about it. Until the night Michael came home late from work. He noticed the front door slightly ajar. He thought maybe he had forgotten to lock it. But then he realized the hallway lights were on, and there was a faint smell of smoke. He rushed in, expecting a fire or a break-in. But the house was empty. No smoke, no intruders, nothing. Over the next few days, strange things started happening. Items would be moved. Food would go missing. Sometimes, he'd wake up in the middle of the night and hear someone whispering his name from the living room. One night, he decided to stay up and catch the intruder. Hiding behind the couch, heart pounding, he saw a shadow move across the kitchen. It was Mr. Harris, his neighbor. In his own house, Michael froze. Mr. Harris turned, looked straight at him, and whispered, "I just wanted to see you sleep." Michael didn't wait. He called the police. When they arrived, Mr. Harris was gone. The house showed no signs of forced entry. No explanation. Michael moved 2 days later, but every so often, he still feels like someone is watching him, waiting for him, like the shadow of Mr. Harris never truly left. Story 3. The late night knocks. Emily had moved into her apartment in a busy city. Life was normal until she started hearing the knocks. It began subtly. One knock around midnight. She thought it was a neighbor returning home late, but the knocking grew louder, faster, more insistent. Every night the pattern repeated. Knock, 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 pause, knock, knock, knock. Sometimes on her door, sometimes on the walls. Emily spoke to the apartment manager, who assured her no one else was in that part of the building at night, but the knocking continued. One night, too scared to sleep, Emily decided to record it on her phone. She captured a chilling sound, a voice whispering through the knocks. "Open the door. I'm right here." Heart racing, she called her best friend, who rushed over and stayed with her that night. When they checked the door, there were no signs of anyone outside, but on the wall, just above the door handle, was a message scratched into the paint. "I see you." Emily moved the next day. She hasn't lived there since. But sometimes, when she's alone at night, she still hears the faint sound of knocks and whispers. Whispered, eerie tone. Some neighbors don't just live next door, they live in your nightmares. Those were just 3 of the countless stories proving that sometimes the real terror doesn't come from monsters, but from the people living next door. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to subscribe to Dark Vision and turn on notifications for your weekly dose of terror. And remember, keep an eye on your neighbors, because you never really know what secrets are lurking just next door.